Rich trying to scoot in there alone. It pinballs to the crease.
Let's get it.
Oh my God! Here we go.
You're listening to the Pod Street Bullies podcast with your hosts, Derek.
How you gonna get it, Bobby?
John. Matt Casey.
Unnecessary, but totally necessary.
And Cody.
What's not to love?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Pod Street Bullies. My name is Derek.
I'm John. What's going on, everybody?
Better than last week.
Oh, it was good last week, too. I said, what's happening last week?
It was definitely not good last week. Anyways, Matt Casey's here as well. What's going on, Matt?
What's going on, everybody?
There we go. That sounded nice. And Hoagie.
Boys, what's going on?
Oh, God.
I'll tell you what's not
pretty good
going on.
cross section into all of our personalities, though.
I love how Hoagie put a hat on because that dude's hair is brutal.
You're welcome.
Looks like a poor man's Matt Dillon.
Oh, boy. Before this gets out of hand,
Kevin
let's...
Dillon? Poor man's Matt Dillon is Kevin Dillon.
Oh, God.
Boy.
All right. Well, anyways, actual news to talk about with some preseason game under our belt here. Injuries, PTOs, real fun stuff. I mean, we're actually getting into it here. There's actual stuff to talk about. We're not scraping the
Hockey.
bottom
There's
of the barrel.
Hockey's back.
Yeah, hockey's back.
Sure,
You know what?
whatever.
Oh, leave it to John.
Johnny.
Debbie Downer.
I hate preseason. I hate everything about it because it's like Jackson Cates has a decent enough game, and we're like, oh my God, I can't believe it. He's an NHLer. Shut the hell up. I hate this crap. I really do. It drives me crazy.
Should we just call the episode now?
Yep,
Do we just end it?
That's that.
Yeah, the hell with it.
Well, shout
See
out
you in
to
a
our
few weeks.
affiliates. No, I mean,
Derek just wants to watch the Cowboys game. That's all.
I do. I really do. So let's get the ball rolling here, fellas.
So
I mean,
So
it's camp.
our tangent before we hit record on Horde Fest 95 and everything thereafter wasn't helping your cause.
Absolutely was not. No, it was not at all. But no, I mean, let's talk a little bit about some takeaways so far from camp. Obviously, we spoke about the PTOs last week, the guys that are playing. As Hoagie put it here, Camp Tortorella. We've got some interesting developments, I guess. There were 5 players released. Michael Houchette, I guess that's how you pronounce his name. Tyler Savard, Alexis Gendron, and then Ethan Sampson, the heartbreaker of the group there, getting sent back down to the WHL, along with Brian Zanetti heading back to the OHL. Any shockers there, guys?
No.
Not gonna work here anymore.
I kind of wish that they would wait to do these junior seasons until they got these guys back. Like the WHL season started, the QMJHL season started. Like, why don't you just wait until training camp and the NHL is done?
I didn't even realize that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's because all the top players, minus like the Bedards of the world, who they're at NHL training camps.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, just wait.
Yeah. Just give it a second.
They miss a week of play. Like, I mean, I see where you're coming from because realistically, of the guys that were released, who there flashes out at you saying, oh, he's going to be a Flyer or he's going to be a Phantom?
None of them.
Exactly. So, I mean, the only real addition that they made this week, they brought back Cal O'Reilly, solid AHL guy, but nothing more than that. But who knows with this team? In terms of major takeaways just from this week, though, I'll start with you, John, because if I don't, you're going to get upset.
Yep.
What are your takeaways from the camp this week so far?
I mean, it's living up to the hype, right? This is what everybody was hoping it was going to be. You see that first day, they don't touch a puck. It's just a bunch of bag skating and suicides, if we're allowed to call them that anymore. Probably not. They got to more
Emotionally
name.
distressed run.
Death by suicide.
Yes, the emotionally distressed wind sprints, if you will. People
The wish
laying
I was
on the
dead.
floor. And I also think you're seeing some people like Morgan Frost, who I just thought was going to be a lame duck in this entire training camp. Surviving through it, playing a decent enough preseason game, and then showing up the next morning and doing it. So, you can kind of see those signs of people buying into Tortorella's craziness, which is it's nice to see. And Tortorella is just living up to what Tortorella was, what we brought him in here for.
Yeah, I think the biggest encouraging thing that I saw was that photo of the one guy just absolutely dead and Tortorella just standing there like, all right,
And that
this
was
is what
Michael,
camp is.
That was Michael Huchette, who just got released today. So
Michael Huchette, yeah. I mean, was it
That'll
Travis
do it.
Ballingoff, the producer for Nasty Knuckles, took that photo? Like, that was beautiful. That was such a
Perfect.
great photo. And if you
Yep.
don't know what I'm talking about, it's all over Twitter. You'll be able to see it. But Hoagie, what are your takeaways here, or I should say, major takeaway from camp so far?
I love it. The first day of just bag skates, no touching pucks. I love that type of stuff because it takes me back to the 1980 USA Olympic team. Lice feed the wolf, and that's kind of what Tortorella is preaching here for the season. Lice feed the wolf. We're going to be the best conditioned team for the season. 41 games in, we're not going to be beaten down in the third period. We're going to stay with these teams.
Well, don't get ahead of yourself there.
He said it. I'm quoting. Screw you.
Fair point. I do want to harp on that though, real quick. And I'm sorry to cut you off, Hoagie. But when AV joined up with the Flyers to coach, was it not him also that said he wants this team to be the best conditioned team out there?
I don't think any coach is showing up being like, no, we're going to do.
Yeah, right.
We're not gonna,
Yeah, but you're not
Right.
touting that and saying like, oh yeah, we're going to be well conditioned. Like, they're specifically saying like these guys are going to be the best conditioned that they've ever been. Like, this was a selling point essentially for Tortorella, and if I remember correctly, for Vigneault at the time when he took over.
I honestly think it's a selling point for any new coach who comes into a lackadaisical locker room.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I just think that Tortorella sells it a little bit more than the martini sipping, paint dripping, basket weaving son of a gun that is.
I don't think AV
Believe in you.
had no pucks on the first practice. Like, not many
Probably
NHL head coaches do that. Right, yeah.
Shootouts.
But I mean,
I need my nicotine.
Line changes. Let's
Elaine,
practice
you-
line changes. That was sorry. But back to you, Casey, real quick. And I didn't mean to interrupt, but I mean, what's your biggest takeaway here from camp so far?
Yeah, I mean, as John said, it's filling up to the hype, or it's reaching the hype that we've heard. We heard it was tough. I think we were all. I mean, I was glued to Twitter on what was it, Thursday, whatever the first day was, and I was like, oh my god, like this is pretty amazing. I also think I listened to Torts' like press conferences in full because I was like, okay, I don't want to hear the clips. I just want to hear like what's going on. Number one, I firmly do believe now, after listening to a handful of these over the last month or two, that like when he gets this reputation of blowing out the media, it is a dumb effing question. Like, it is a stupid question, and he has no tolerance for it. Number two, it is just so clear that he knows he is walking into like a lump of clay that he has to mold, and he has to do it in a way that is going to be, we are going to be conditioned first. He understands the situation that they're in. But he's preaching hard work. And I think that he is playing to the personification of what we want Philadelphia to be, and what the Rocky Balboas of the world, the Broad Street Bullies, and that whole sort of mantra that Philly is, that we have lost by getting our asses kicked the last 3 years. And so I like it. I like what he's bringing to it. It's interesting to see day one versus day four. These guys are, you're starting to see a couple guys miss some practices here and there, but liking what I see so far.
you're starting to see guys separate themselves from the pack. The guys that, are conditioned, are in good shape, are surviving these practices. And you're starting to see the guys that are kind of falling off here. And, this is obviously hyperbole, but like my biggest takeaway, this is the closest thing to the purge that I could think of. Like just watching it all unfold. You can't look away. Like you don't want to, but you gotta see it,
Who's barfing next?
Right? Like who's done? Who's gonna hit the ice next? So it's great. I think this is a fantastic approach. You get these guys conditioned, get them working on one of the most fundamental things and aspects of this game, then work on the skills. Then work on, let's develop plays. Let's, figure this out, figure that out. Get them skating and get them in shape. If they can't outskill the competition, outwork them. And I like that. I think it's a good mentality to have.
And it's also, I think Tortorella has this understanding where it's like all of these players have some level of skill that got them to this point, right? Like he's got to unlock the other aspects of the player, the hard work, the never say die. Somebody's ringing the dinner bell on homie's side.
What is going on back there?
It's the fucking cat.
Stick the thing in the microwave already. Hit 30 seconds and walk away.
Try calling her away. She won't even move. It's killing
You
me.
gotta take a minute to throw it off the balcony. Go ahead.
It'll still land on its feet.
But no, I think that Tortorella just understands that like skill is something he's not going to be able to teach these players. They all come with their own level. It's getting all that other stuff, where he's got to just bring in this mentality of never quit, always 100% stuff.
Let me ask you this: Do you feel like I don't feel like there is pressure for Tortorella to win this year. I agree.
Agreed.
I want him to. I think there is pressure for him to ice a competitive team, and then you build on it when we have theoretically 13 million in free cap next year with JVR and Ellis hopefully gone. So
I think you said
he's coming
it's building.
back.
What's that?
He's coming back. He's coming back.
He's coming back. Yeah. They discovered where it is now. Yeah.
Week to week for the past 365 days.
And what did he injure? I've never even heard of that muscle or bone.
Pessoas.
But yeah, okay. Where it is, I've never the Vasoa bones connected to the
funny bone. You hammer on a good point there. Like this needs to be a season where you see progress, more so than anything. I don't care if they win 50 games. We all know it's not happening. Show us progress. Get better as the season goes. Start seeing guys like Morgan Frost maybe come into their own, if that's going to happen. But see them slot into the roles that they're meant to be in.
I've said this a few times. I could care less if this team goes 0-82. If it's 2-1, 3-2, like 1-0, those kind of games, sign me up. They don't need to win this year. I'd actually prefer they not.
I don't know if I can handle 0-82, but I will put it this.
I'll go 1-81. Let's be fair.
Let's settle for this. Maybe only 1 10-game losing streak. Like that would be an improvement, sadly, versus what we saw last year. And I don't even think we're going to see
his reaction.
Right.
Oh my God!
Just no more 9-0s. Like the 7-1s.
Yeah.
I can't handle that anymore.
That's how low the bar is. But I think I don't think anyone has delusions, including the players or Tortorella. It's like we got nowhere to go but up. Knock on wood. And so
Carter Hart's like, hold my beer.
Oh, too soon.
Yeah, right.
Oh boy. Oh man. Which, as John alluded to, we'll get to here towards the end of the show. But, so again, we spoke about the preseason game just a little bit there against Boston. The Flyers came away with the win there. There were some encouraging things personally that I saw, but I do want to get your guys' takes on it. I'll start with you, Matt Casey. We'll go back to you first. What did you see, if you watched the game, that was encouraging, discouraging, just general observations about the game against Boston?
Yeah, so I actually did watch the second 2 periods. I didn't even realize it was on, but I was on the NHL Network, and I just watched Miami lose to Middle Tennessee, and I was like, saw this game, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this to myself. I don't know if I can actually watch a worse game. But so I started in the second period, and my first, understanding that systems aren't in place and, all that sort of stuff. And it's, basically one line each of NHL regulars and the rest are kind of fringe guys or, it's, seventh pairing defensemen, things like that. I would say number one, the Flyers were incredibly physical, which I liked. Like they were going after it and they were selling out. I mean, we unfortunately heard that Anisimov, he blocked a shot with his foot. That dude came back and finished the game. Like he worked his ass off. He was physical. Allison was fighting. I've been hearing some good stuff about Allison's conditioning. I would also say Morgan Frost looked like he wants to be the guy. And again, caveat the competition he's in, but like you could see a decisive move with him where he's like, oh, I'm shooting. I'm trying to score. He did a little
confidence.
He did a through the legs, in close thing on the power play. Tried to. I think he got the assist on one of the power play goals, which is
Cates was
phenomenal. Beautiful,
right?
Yeah.
So Cates were good. Cates was good, and then I know we were jumping to this, but you look at somebody like Tyson Forrester who was off and on a little bit, but he had a moment I think in the third where he basically sliced and diced a 1-on-2 and got a nasty shot off. It didn't go in, but you were like, damn. Okay, he's got something. Right. I still think it's probably a year or two away, but like he's got something. So, and then the final point I'll say is Sansory.
Save something for somebody else.
Yeah, geez,
I said
man.
one takeaway. Jesus Christ!
Wait, did you guys watch the game?
Yes,
some of it.
Watch the first period.
Yeah, I wanted to dig a little bit deeper on Frost because I wanted to go with your point because I mean he did look great. Like I thought that he looked confident. He was making plays that showed that and exemplified that confidence, especially that assist with Cates. The one thing, and I think I've watched Morgan Frost more so than the game itself because that's what intrigues me. I wasn't really encouraged by his play around the boards. Not necessarily that he shied away. He just didn't show that eagerness to get into the dirty areas, which, okay, he's not. I'd prefer him in the slot. Guy. I'd prefer him in the slot, creating chances in open ice as opposed to battling along the boards. But, like, show me a little bit, man. Like, show me a little bit. I just want to see a little bit of snarl, a little bit of just that, willingness to get into those areas if need be. I don't need you to go in there balls to the wall like Nick Delorier, but show me something. You know what I mean?
And if I can kind of just piggyback off you, Derek, a couple of the things that I noticed with Frost too.
How long you want, baby?
Oh boy.
Now I'm blushing. No. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh yeah. So there were a few things. I think one, Morgan Frost he's saying, "Give me the keys to the car," right? Like. I'm ready to step up this year. I mean, it's do or die, right? Mm-hmm. But I also think one of the things that I'm noticing, and I think all of you probably noticed something too, is it's like the Flyers now have this task of finding somebody, at least one winger that can kind of match his skill, right? Someone who's ready to receive those passes and kind of play at that level with him. And I'm really interested, I think, and I know this doesn't really deal with the preseason game, but I'm interested to see who that could be. Is it Konechny? Is it a veteran like Atkinson? But there's got to be somebody who can kind of keep up with the potential of skill that Morgan Frost can bring.
Speaking of Konechny and Hoagie, your father-in-law, see the Twitter?
No.
Does he know about Evil Gritty?
I don't think so. I think I need to freshen him up.
The comment, and I mean, we can put it up here quick. Said he better be careful with where he'd like to go to lunch. And the Evil Gritty quote about Konechny asking to go to Hooters for lunch. I'm sorry. It's just too funny because I've been fooled by him too. Like I'll be completely honest, but oh my God, do those quotes kill me?
Yeah.
All right, Hoagie, back to you, man. What your big takeaway from the Boston game here?
I'm gonna take Casey's last thing where we cut him off. Sandstrom looked great from what I watched in the first period. Tracking pucks really well. I mean, we were on the penalty kill what 5 times or 6 times in the first period or something stupid, and he just looked good. He was fronting to the puck. He was saving. He was making doing all the right things in the crease. So that kind of gives me.
Yeah, is that a technical goalie term?
he was
saving. He was saving.
doing the right things, and I'd like to see it because
Loving.
we all know it. We have that goaltender battle.
Sticking.
Yeah, we've talked about it. I hate you both.
Hadden.
Oh boy.
So
Yeah.
Sandstrom looks good. I like to see it.
And that's good because
Thank you,
he's slated to be our backup. I mean, whether Grosnick comes in and blows the doors off the place when he gets his chance, like I still think Sandstrom's the guy that they're going to put behind Carter Hart because he's homegrown. They know him and they know his play better than they know Grosnick's play. And yes, Grosnick was great in the AHL, but different beast.
He's like
Really, I think it's going to be.
He's
Yeah.
played one game in the NHL. Or
Yeah.
two.
I would say
It's-
Grosnick didn't look bad the other night by any means, but he let in a goal and Sandstrom didn't. So
Yeah.
there you have it.
That's all right. Carter Hart's
Yeah.
already,
Oh, yeah.
Talk about that 1A, 1B, boys and girls. A little Sandstrom Grosnick action.
Oh, boy.
Your fantasy
yes.
hockey league.
That's just lovely.
I don't know how much saving they're going to be doing. Oh,
We're going to find out if Carter Hart keeps going down. But getting back to the lineup itself, and I don't necessarily want to say projections here. It's pretty early. We're going to talk about some of these players.
The whole part. We skipped a whole section.
What section are we going to touch on?
The Flash and Flyers. Flyers who
The
were
flashy
flashing.
Flyers. Okay, you're right. You're right.
what's that?
Well, then let's talk about some flashy Flyers in camp. So,
Because not everybody got to
Casey,
play the other night.
since you've got a better grasp on this than I do, because I wasn't even supposed to be here tonight, would you like to
I
begin?
read text messages? Yeah. No, look, the way I'll set this up is, we've had 4 days of camp. I think they had today off, and then they're back on it tomorrow. And yes, we've seen one preseason game, then we've seen a couple scrimmages. I haven't watched any of the scrimmages, but you're just hearing and seeing clips here and there, and just kind of like who you're seeing out there that is kind of catching the eye. And kind of a cheat one. I'll start. I guess we just go around the horn and see who you got here. But I'll go with
This isn't
Provorov.
baseball.
I'll go with Provorov. Like, he's been touted as a beast in the offseason. From what I saw, he was lapping people on the
Shocker.
conditioning stage.
Yeah.
And
Russian
So-
machine don't break, baby.
so you know what? Provorov, like, good for you, man. That's flash, and that's something that the coaches have got to love. Seeing that kind of preparation.
Then, all right, John, how about you?
I ain't got anything.
I figured. Hoagie.
I'm just gonna go with Morgan Frost. I know I've said it in the past. I'm tired of talking about the guy, but I think he's here to finally put me in my place, and he's gonna put up and shut up. And I'd rather him do that this year.
I think he's specifically showing out in camp just to prove you wrong, Hoagie.
I freaking hope so. I've said it for
I heard
weeks. I'm
that,
tired of talking about him.
I heard Wade Allison put some muscle on, so that's something fun to talk about.
Yeah, but he
And he
lost
made
for
it through.
17
And he made
penalty
it through
minutes.
rookie kick. Yeah.
I know. Look
Yeah.
at that.
All right. Perfect. We're a step further than we were last year.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Zamula's 12 pounds are already gone.
Oh, they're
The
gone.
bag skate.
With the
Oh,
baskets
yeah.
and the throw up. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, I'm with Hoagie on this one, and maybe it's a bit of a cop out, but yes, like John said, I think this is the season right now, at least, that where he's telling everybody, "Give me the keys, get in, I'm driving." I hope it stays that way. I shouldn't say I have no reason to believe it won't, but like the play so far is indicative of somebody who's doing his best to seize that opportunity, and I think that the more we see from him, if he can play these preseason games like he did against Boston, hey, I have no reason to believe he can't be our 3C at least, moving forward. Now, whether he ends up 2C, 1C because of injuries, who knows? But I mean,
But
I'm at least more confident in him now than I was maybe this time a year ago.
This is, and I'm in the same boat as you, man. But like, this is the textbook like preseason hype that I'm talking about.
I'm not
Because it's like
saying this
we're-
that I'm going to get like, oh
No.
my God, I can't believe he's playing so well. But
Well,
like,
I understand
it's
that, but
good.
it's like But it's like, this is the one player that I think we could all fixate on because, again, it's like we've seen these flashes, whether it be in junior, the AHL, where it's like, well, the skill's there. So obviously we're kind of zoned in on this guy, and he's playing well right now in a very small sample size, not against NHL talent. But it's like we can't help it but get excited about something, you know? And when we start talking about lines, I'm going to say something really ridiculous about it all. But
I'll say this
spicy.
I'll say this about Frost is that he, from what I heard, he played the night before, he played Saturday night, and then he came back and was thrown with, I think, TK and JVR. And apparently they did pretty well in the scrimmage on Sunday morning. And I think one of the biggest qualms that the four of us have always had with him is like, does he really give a crap?
Right.
Like, he doesn't stick around for training camp. He doesn't sound excited. That kind of stuff. Like, if he's in day 4 and he's one of the ones who like played a game the night before and then is coming out and dominating the scrimmage, at least the effort's there. Like, and so maybe you check that part off the box. Now, I do think we're obviously about to head into phase 2 of training camp, and which is going to be more systems oriented and things like that. And so I think that's like, it's one thing to be able to shoot and save, if you will, Hoagie, but like, it's another thing to actually understand the systems and be able to apply your skill set. So I think there's still a long way to go, but hey, day 4, Frost is flashing for us.
Yeah, no, it's in no way like an indictment on, what the final roster is going to look like entering the season. But at the same rate, it is encouraging. I mean, we might have seen this a couple of times before in seasons past, but like under a new regime, new coach, new staff, essentially. And I mean, let's be honest, a completely new look team. It's encouraging to see him stepping up to the plate and trying to make the most of this opportunity.
100%.
Yeah. Awesome. Anybody else want to add to the flashy Flyers in camp?
I'll throw the Cates brothers out there just because what else do we have? What else do we have in there? But
all right,
I'd rather have them flash than not.
I mean,
I'm glad they did
the brakes
something.
on Jackson Cates. It's like, okay, the guy is an AHL player.
So Jackson's the older one, right? I get these.
Jackson's the older, not drafted one.
Got it.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, then. Well, as I alluded to earlier, after I forgot that we were going to touch on this topic, we get to the lineup projections. And John, you've got us all on the edge of our seats here. Tell us a little bit about your spicy take here.
I mean, and maybe it's actually not that spicy, but I think you put Frost in your 1C. I think he's your first line center.
He's over here like been saying this.
Saying it for 2 weeks.
Well, good thing I don't listen or read anything that you say or provide. So anyway, what I was saying, my original thought was that why not, right? Sean Couturier is out. I mean, now you're getting conflicting reports that it might be 3 to 4 weeks. People are arguing about second opinions.
The greatest time to be on Flyers Twitter.
It's a great time to just be alive in general.
What a time.
Find a hobby. Holy crap. But anyway, to me, like the skill and the upside, you might as well just see what you have with this kid. Like I've said, if you can find that person to match his skill, maybe you can unlock something here. And we've said time and time again that Kevin Hayes is barely a second line center. We all say we prefer him to be a third line center. This is all about seeing what you have for the years coming up. Like, don't waste it on Kevin Hayes, and that's no offense to him, but like, see what you can actually get from Morgan Frost in this one last year instead of mediocre.
Ooh.
Like that?
That's the name of the episode.
Mediocre saving.
There it is.
Ogres are like onions. Nerds. They have layers. Yeah. So I
using
think
that same thought process, what's your opinion on Noah Cates at 2C?
I think he's more of a wing.
Okay. That's fair.
I mean, I view him as, I hate this term because we're starting to say it so often, but like that Swiss Army type, Scott Lawton, where I
Lawton
think
type.
that where I
Scott
think
There
Lawton.
that,
you go, Hoagie. There you go.
I think you could put him at C, but I think that he'll be a better NHLer at the wing.
Okay.
And if you're gonna go with a Swiss Army knife center, you go Scott Lawton at this
Sure.
point. You know,
Yep, that's fair. Okay. All right, Matt Casey, your lineup projections. Or
So
should
I'm
we
gonna
just turn
go-
this into like the hot take projection?
Yeah, it's kind of a lineup hot take, I guess. I got two. One, well, I'll say my second one until everybody gets a turn because I get yelled at before.
there he is.
I'm saying that York is not a shoe-in for a top 6D.
Ooh.
Spicy.
I think he's
Interesting.
getting pushed a little bit, and like he played
From
the other night.
who?
What's that?
From who?
What do you mean?
Like who's pushing him? Like who is going to contest that
Kevin
spot?
I mean,
Kennard.
I'm not going to say Ronnie Adder because I don't think that guy's very good, if I'm being honest with you. But
Thank
like,
you.
I don't know. I think the reason why he might sig it is I think Zamula is is on the opposite side of him. So I just think there's like, I don't know. I'm just not convinced that York is a lock to make this top 6 lineup right now. I want him to. I hope he steps up, but I didn't see enough the other night to be like, oh, wow, he looks great.
Man, you
Okay.
think these second opinion arguments are crazy. Wait till you get that on Twitter. Whew.
Oh boy. This is where we need to clip this out for conversations.
He's getting pushed by Sealer. All right. That's what I'm getting at. No, I'm kidding.
Mm,
I think if there's a younger guy coming in, it could potentially be Zamula, but I just think the right
Is Zamula
left
the same? Is he the same side though as York?
No,
Aren't they both
that's what
left?
I'm saying. Zamula's a right and
Are
York's
you
a left.
sure?
well, Braun's a righty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
am
I mean,
I.
are you going to try to put a lefty with a righty? Like, are you talking about whoever's filling that side next to Braun needs to be a lefty?
No, I mean that's a fair point. Maybe it's pushing Braun, but all I'm saying is that York was less than impressive the other night.
Okay. Okay. No, good point. Hoagie.
John stole mine. I've been
Man.
saying it for the past.
Zamula's a lefty, by the way. BT Dubs,
What's
There it
what's York? All right,
a lefty. Yeah.
All right, so there you go.
Check.
Well then. All right.
Big news.
I don't know how hot of a take this is. I think Grossnick edges out Sandstrom for the backup spot.
No.
No,
This is why it's a hot take. You
No,
don't have to
that
agree
one
with me.
sucks.
it's not
No.
hot. That's
You don't
one's
agree
like,
with it
Morgan
either.
Frost is going to be the one seat.
You
You
don't
literally
even.
stole
You don't even.
Hoagie's.
You don't agree with what you just said. You're just saying it.
If I would have went with Hoagie first and he'd have took yours, you'd have been sitting here bitching about it.
yeah, he would have been pissed
Well,
poor.
because he
Or you'd
stole
have
it
come
from
up
me.
with something else that just
Absolutely
sucks.
not. I said it last week when the Couturier news broke.
No, you
He
didn't.
did.
I
He
did. I've been saying it for
That
the
must
past
have been
week.
me. That must have been me. I remember. I texted you. I said, "Here's a little gem, Hoagie, for you. I'll let you have this one."
I even have somebody agreeing with me in text message saying, "What you said on the pod makes sense."
Yep. Sorry, John.
I don't care. I don't care. It's my
If you
thought.
didn't
My-
care.
you want my
why would
second
you
one, by the way?
arguing this?
Go ahead, Casey.
Oh, we're doing two?
I have another one. Since Hoagie abstained, he gave his time back to the gentleman.
I've got
in New
another one
Jersey.
too.
I say Allison at some point locks in a lineup spot in the top 6.
Ooh, I was going to say the same about Tyson Forrester.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Forrester could do it because not putting him on the fourth line. Third line, okay, maybe. But given injuries, I could see it. Put him with Hayes, maybe. No, Atkinson will be on the top line, but I mean, who else? JVR, Hayes, and Forrester.
Oh,
I don't know. Maybe.
oh.
JVR and
No,
Hayes
it's all
scare me together.
cringeworthy.
I mean, what are you going to do with JVR at this point? Like,
Right.
Put him on the third line where he belongs.
okay,
That's what you do with
that's
him.
fair. Who are you putting up on the second line?
Joel Farabee when he's back.
And that's going to be in November. So what are you
That's
going to do till
fine.
then?
I don't think it'll be in November. I think he's back earlier than that.
Give me answers, Hoagie.
He looks good. He looks
You know
good
the
in
real
camp.
funny thing?
That's somebody that we're not talking about. Joel Farabee. He's skating. He's
That's
looking
good.
I
really
actually
well.
forgot
He's
about
looking
him.
really
I just
good.
assumed he'd be injured for the rest of the season.
Yeah, we've all forgotten about him. But he's looked really well. There's no contact, but who did he go to the net with? There was a
Risto.
defenseman. He went to the net with Risto. It's like Risto, he's got no contact on. Dude.
That was the quote. It was like, no contact means no contact, Risto.
You know what's really funny is because when we're talking about potential top 6 guys, we're also not mentioning somebody else who is kind of my second here.
Go.
I think Owen Tippett just flops. I don't think that he's going to be anything. You know, all the stuff we were like, he's going to be working on this over the summer. He's going to start shooting pucks at the net. Did you see some of those shots? Holy crap! Where the hell were they aiming? I just, yeah, I don't see it.
He was aiming for the net, but Jeff Cutter-esque. I am wide.
It was wild. I mean, just everything you thought that he was working on over the summer. I don't know who he was working on it with, but
Jeff Carter.
Ray Charles.
Meet my off-season coach, Ray Charles.
Under shot clinic.
I just, I don't know. I mean, I think that he's going to be someone by November. We'll the Giroux trade.
Oh boy.
I don't know if I'm ready to go flop on that, John, but I will agree with you. I wasn't impressed one bit.
Right. I mean, I'm over dramatizing it because we're a show, but yeah, I just think that what we want out of Owen Tippett, what we're expecting this guy to be, I just don't think he's going to bring it.
Yeah.
How much of that is attributed to the fact, though, that he was the main piece for the Giroux deal? Are we putting too heavy expectations on him?
I'm past that. I'm past that part, man.
Okay.
I mean,
there's only a portion of the fan base that isn't going to move past that.
Sure,
but
that's fair.
When we got him, though, it was already a fact that this guy was a not like a Philadelphia Flyer, but you were taking a flyer out on this guy. He was just like Morgan Frost.
Right. Sure.
Somebody who's not living up to expectations.
But somebody that couldn't crack a much better Florida Panthers lineup.
Sure. But he seems to just be mediocre.
Mediocre.
That's an interesting take, though. I wasn't ready to go that far with it, but I
we
think
all
it'd be
forget
fun to
about him.
monitor. It's going to be good to monitor this over the next 3 weeks, though, and just see.
Right.
What,
Sure. Everybody keeps forgetting about Tippett, myself included. I'm not.
I forgot his
about the
name.
guy.
I literally forgot his name.
There's a lot of players that we just keep forgetting about for no
It's just a
reason.
revolving door.
Is this common to have 70 people at camp? This feels excessive.
A lot of people. It's a football team.
And they've only trimmed 5.
Yeah, oh man, only 65 left.
Right.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, Rudy wouldn't make this roster either, for God's sakes.
I mean, we keep dropping the way we are. It's going to be.
I was going to say
59th guys.
between the demotions, between
PT.
the injuries here, which we'll get into in a second. I mean, they're dropping. We just
call back Huchet.
Yeah, call him back up. Be like, hey man, we made a mistake. We need warm bodies, but we're gonna need warm bodies because
cheese
injuries. Hooch, like horchata.
Side of Huchet.
Nice one,
with a glass of wine.
Where is this going?
Put that in your fondue pot. All right. Anyways, injuries. Let's get down to it. There's been a lot. Surprise. Sean Couturier's out. Carter Hart's out. Anisimov we talked about.
Blame Russia.
3 bones. He's our substitute for not getting fed atop. Atkinson's day-to-day. I don't want to get too negative here, fellas. I don't. But God damn it, here we are again. I mean,
day-to-day at this point, the Flyers should just say maintenance days. Maintenance days.
Yeah.
Day-to-day makes it sound worse.
Yeah. I mean, and for all we know, it's okay, they're a little banged up. They don't want it to get worse.
Collapsed lung because Tortorella's pushing them too hard. No big deal.
I think the fact that Atkinson skated on Sunday is certainly a good sign. I think he's probably just a little bit winded. He's not a young pup anymore, for God's sakes.
Right.
But guys and I'll say this too: the Couturier thing, the fact that there is discrepancy in the timeline, I think is a positive, quite frankly. Nobody can get the firm like, oh yeah, he definitely needs surgery kind of thing. So I don't know. I'm optimistic for Couturier. I think we are so effing jaded from the last year. Like we have PTSD.
yeah.
Right.
It's
Well,
like,
I
you know,
think too.
cue the platoon music, and it's like, you know, we're all like, you know, having flashbacks here.
Casey, I would be with you with like the mixed reports with Couturier, like being optimistic and all that stuff, except for I'd like to remind you of a gentleman named Ryan Ellis.
Right.
Who?
And this guy went from day to day to
A
week to
NASCAR
week
driver.
to not getting surgery. Like it was all over the place. And here we are. The guy's got a ripped utera or whatever it's called, and he might never play again. What?
Whoa, hold on a second. A ripped what?
He said
Utera.
Utera. Okay.
Is it what is it? A unura?
It was a psoas.
Urethra.
Yeah, you were way off there. What the hell?
I've still never heard of it.
Dr. John, everybody. Dr. John.
Dr. Jackass.
The doctor will see you now.
The one that, you know, obviously Couturier is concerning, and I'm still optimistic that it's like, all right, 3 to 4 weeks. Okay, that's still beginning of the season. You know, it is what it is. Hartwood scares the living crap out of me. And, you know, you look at the two players that you didn't want to lose. Here we are.
You said it. What about the center depth and what about the goalie depth?
Right. It's all
Two things we did
down the
nothing
drain.
about.
Let's start monitoring those waiver
part of
wires,
the
baby.
manual.
Here we got.
Well, like, I mean,
Who's the Cal O'Reilly equivalent at goal? Grosnick.
Here we have
Grosnick,
it.
yeah.
It was Alex Lyon. He was already, it'd be Alex Lyon.
Hey, man. It's HL champion, Alex Lyon.
My apologies. I liked him, just was not good in the NHL. But that's the big thing that concerns me, the Carter Hart news. Like, this guy, I'm beginning to worry. Like, are we going to start tagging him as injury prone here? Because it feels like every single year there's something. And it's a nagging injury. It's something, you know, oh, he's just banged up, but then it's a bigger issue. You know, I guess that's a big concern of mine. Like, I don't want if it's like the same thing, if it stems from something else, just shut him down until he's good. You know, shut him down. If he's going to be
It's amplified because we don't have a backup.
Right.
Exactly, it is. But at the same rate, it's like, are we going to keep trying to? And again, I don't want to speak for the franchise here, but like, if we're going to keep trying to push him into duty because we don't have the backup, that's more of a detriment than anything because he can't get 100% healthy.
But like, he's had all summer. Like, you know, it's day 3 of camp and he's hurt. Like, I don't think you can call that pushing him to, you know, pushing him into action. He's pushed into his 3rd day of practice.
But from the past, where it's like he'd come back, he'd get injured, come back, get injured. Like, it's not like to the extent we're talking like a Ryan Ellis here, but like, I am starting to get a little concerned in terms of this guy's long-term projection because once he's healthy, then he's hurt again. You know, it's discouraging.
But it's never long injuries, right? It's like a start here, there, kind
unless
of thing.
They shut him down at the end of the season, which like that's the right move. But
so the big problem, and somebody said it already, I can't remember who it was, but like we wouldn't be talking about this if we had a legit backup, or you know, we had like Martin Jones or somebody where it was like, okay, this team is not going to be very good anyway. Like, we have someone that can at least do a somewhat decent enough job.
I love that a year ago we were just like, what the hell is Martin Jones? Like, we'd kill for Martin Jones right now.
Right.
Even Brian Elliott.
Oh my God.
Michael Layton at this point.
Chuck's calling up Putin. He's like, hey, comrade, we still doing that war thing? Can you get fed enough out here? Good
So what's it going to take? Hey, listen, buddy, we got great vodka over here. That's the one thing too. I mean, we can sit here and harp on the Fedotov thing, but it's useless. I do have concerns about Carter Hart. Not concerned about Atkinson. He'll be fine. Anisimov, like, kind of sucks. You hope he's okay, but like, at the end of the day, he was a PTO. You know, he was a center, could have helped, but
What's the deal with that? Like, what's the deal with that? What's the deal if so he's gone for what, a month probably, right? To get a foot healed at least, and then some rehab time. Like, can we just bring him back in at any time if he's still like I don't know how that works.
I think because remember Chris Stewart was like on a PTO for a while before we finally signed him to a contract that got everybody all up in arms.
I don't think he can suit up for a game though until he actually signs a contract. Yeah,
right.
But he can like be in the organization, but he doesn't.
Yeah, like he can't go to another team while he's still on a PTO with us.
Right.
But
I feel like at this point, right, the Flyers, like, they're not going to hold on to Anisimov.
Right.
You know, like
I just feel like we can do. No, that's a good point. I feel like there in the next 2 weeks, there's going to be enough like serviceable people. I mean, they might be centers, they might not be. I don't know, but coming off of waivers that we're that desperate, we can probably pick up somebody.
Can I ask a question that I'm flabbergasted? Why isn't Ryan Ellis on LTIR yet? And
I don't think you can do it until
I don't think he can
until the roster's the roster's set.
Got it. Because all of a sudden they're $6 million. I mean, and it's like you're not going to go and get a world beater, but bring in somebody who hasn't gotten a job yet, and just be like, "Hey, I'll give you $2 million to play 1C."
Hey, talk Chara out of retirement.
He plays center.
Or Subban. You can bring in Subban.
He plays center.
I'm talking.
But we don't need D.
Yeah, we're flush now.
I mean, we could use.
Everybody could use a little D.
Oh boy.
that big D energy, you know.
Oh yeah. All right. Before this gets any more off the rails.
Speaking of big D, Nick Delorier is making an impression.
Are we surprised?
No, but he is.
Scaring his own teammates in the corners.
Right. Yeah. Well, everybody was in an uproar about that clip about Cam York, and everybody's like, dude, he caught like 90% boards. Relax.
Right.
Like he's just gonna steamroll like one of the more promising prospects that we have in our pool right now.
It's always so good when people like freak out. They're like, "Oh, what a hit!" It's like, no, he missed him and like hit the boards. Like that's why he was so loud.
Like, did you hear that crack? Like, yes, it was the bourds. Like,
right.
Yeah, when it's body on the boards, you don't hear it as much.
Was it Gudis who hurt? Didn't Gudis hurt? What, Couturier or somebody?
Gudis hurt Couturier in camp or practice or something. It was like, how can this get any worse? And Gudis just like, I make it worse. Like, way to go, you big oaf. I wouldn't say that to his face, but so all right, let's have some fun with this then. Out of all the players, and let's discount Delorier because I feel like he's a cop out here. Out of all the players in camp, I should say, who's the one guy that's going to injure somebody, one of his teammates?
Wade Allison, him and somebody else. Knock out 4 people.
Just wipe them out.
Just slide across. I bet it's Tony D, but it's like not like a check. He's like takes a ridiculous like frustrated slap shot and hits somebody in the bench or something like that. Like it's something like so boneheaded, and it's like oh.
Piss takes his stick, cracks Frost over the head with it.
What are you doing?
Come here, Frosty.
My friend. I said today.
What was that?
I don't even know. I don't know. Probably Risto.
Yeah, you're just doing it all night tonight, Hoagie. Yeah,
that's what I would have said too.
Listen, I got a game at 10:30. I'm saving all the energy.
All right. Well, in the sake of your game, I'm done with all this interesting discussion here.
John Popper.
What's a what?
What happened to John Popper from Blues Traveler?
Shut the hell up. I think he lost 120 pounds, something like that. All right. Wrapping up here, Hoagie. Hit us with your dad joke for the week.
Summer's officially over. It's Fallout, boy.
Say that again.
Good one.
That may be it for this segment.
Shutting it
I
down.
love there's zero enthusiasm. Summer's
Deadpan.
almost
You
over.
don't need it.
Just
how I am.
like something. Give us a little life.
Even your father-in-law's unimpressed.
Yeah, he always
Why
is.
did the chicken
You're out of
cross
the family.
road to get to the other side?
Oh God. All right. Well, we're gonna make you go first, then, Hoagie, so we don't have to hear you for the rest of the episode. Let everybody know where your Twitter's at.
Pod Street Hoax on that app.
Casey,
Pod Street Casey on Twitter.
John,
You can find this podcast on all your various podcast listening receptacles, included but not limited to all the ones that are on the bottom of the screen. If you're not watching us currently, what are you doing, first of all? Second of all, just Google us or stick to whatever you're listening to. Thank you and good night.
there we go. All right.
So
You can find me on Twitter, Pod Street Bob. You can find John on Twitter, Pod Street Gobe. You can find all four of us on Twitter at Pod Street Bullies. Also, check out our affiliates, Flyers High and Wide over on Twitter at Flyers HW, as well as 5 Minute Major Podcast on Twitter at 5 Min Major. Also, check out the Hockey Focus as well. Make sure you're following all those podcasts. They're covering the entire NHL as well. Different podcasts just like us, just for different teams. And that's it for my spiel. Now that it's gotten longer, I'm going to have a hard time remembering it. You folks have a wonderful week ahead.
Bye
I
now.
know.